Good morning, Fergus High. I'm Aiden Stansberry, and this is your Eagles Newscast. On this week's Newscast, we will be bringing you information about wrestling, the Robotics Club, and the We the People competition, and the highlights of Eagles Night Live. But first, let's hear from our returned foreign exchange student, Maida Walters.
So to start preparing myself, I took Spanish 1 in freshman year, and then I did kind of a Rosetta Stone study on my own all sophomore year. But when I arrived in Argentina, I really figured out I didn't know Spanish that well. At about a month, you can understand more, or like get by, survival skills. 2 months, then you can understand almost everything they were saying. 3 months, you can actually start talking pretty well, and then it just goes from there. And 6 months, you're almost fluent.
What was the hardest thing to adapt to for the first time when you arrived in Argentina?
Well, everything was just so different. Yeah, there's the language. But then it's like you have to, well, I figured out my first day, you don't take your shoes off when you enter a house. So I had to wear shoes constantly, which you wouldn't think is that weird, but it kind of bothers you after a while. And the eating times is you eat at 11 o'clock at night, and you don't eat breakfast, so that was kind of weird. And then there's no private space or privacy. You're always with people, or you don't close the door, or your host mom bumps in and it's like, oh, what's going on? Why is the door closed? So yeah, you got that a lot. In Argentina, there's so much passion when they talk, and they're yelling all the time, or they're crying, or they're just, so alive. And here it's a lot more subdued. And people don't show their emotions like they do there.
Can you walk us through a day of school?
So a normal day in Argentina, I would get up like 7:30, then go for a run and talk with my host mom a lot, and then I'd go to school at 1:30, which I had to take a bus to my school, a colectivo, and that would be like a 30-minute drive. Then I had to walk a little bit. So it was about an hour to my school and all. And then I'd go up and meet all my friends and kiss them on the cheek, and we'd all talk. And there was 35 of us in a classroom, and the teacher came to us, so you got really close with the 35 people. And then that went on till 7:30 at night. And it's just like a normal day, like you learn stuff and you talk a lot and you have little breaks during school. And then I would take the bus home, get home at like 8:15, 8:30. Then I'd have mate, which is their traditional drink that they drink every night. And you'd talk with your family more. And then I'd try to do some homework or something like that. And then you'd have dinner at 11 o'clock at night. And then you'd talk more. And I'd go to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I would love to go back, and if I could live there, that would be awesome. I don't know how that would work out with me, but for sure I'm going back. Like, no question about that. And it'll always be my country, too.
Thanks, Maida. Argentina sounds like an exciting place. Now we'll give you an inside look at our Fergus wrestling team.
How long have you been a wrestling coach?
I've been a wrestling coach for 8 years now.
What is your favorite thing about being a wrestling coach?
Watching the kids work hard and improve throughout the season.
What's your least favorite thing?
Least favorite is having to deal with all of the injuries that come with the sport each year.
So how do you determine what weight the boys are going to wrestle at?
We have to, through MHSA, get the kids certified by a doctor, and he checks their body fat and he determines how low or how much weight they can lose.
All right, thank you. How long have you been in wrestling?
I've been in wrestling for 8 years.
What's your favorite thing about wrestling?
My favorite thing, the coaches and the hard work you have to put into it. I don't know, the grind.
So what's your favorite wrestling move?
My favorite wrestling move is a double leg takedown, because you can pick them up and slam them down really hard.
Sounds like fun. Thank you.
Yep.
How long have you been in wrestling?
Started when I was 4, so about 10 years.
What's your favorite wrestling move?
Probably the either power double leg or outside sweep.
All right, thank you. So how long have you been in wrestling?
This is my first year, and I've only been in it for a few weeks.
So how do you like it so far?
It's pretty fun. It's good workouts every night after school, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
All right, thank you.
What are your goals for divisionals?
My goal is to get first at divisionals.
How do you feel like you're going to do at state?
I'm hoping to place top 6 at state.
Okay, thank you. What are your advice for upcoming wrestlers?
The wrestlers need to listen to the coaches because they tell them what to do, and then they need to be on weight at the meets or else they're going to have to run.
How do you think you're going to do at divisionals?
I would say all right.
So what are you hoping to place? Do you have any idea?
I was hoping to at least place 3rd.
What do you think the competition is going to be like?
It's going to be very hard to do, and just gonna go out and try it.
Good luck to all of the wrestlers this season. The Robotics Club will be competing at the state robotics competition this weekend. Here's what they have to say.
So the Robotics Club, basically what I help the students with is the fundraising and make sure they got all their parts, and supplying pizza for the meetings at night so they don't get hungry and keep their minds creative and stimulated, and basically make sure that I set up the events and make sure transportation to and fro.
The main focus of the competition is to drop the cubes into the baskets for points. And there are a bunch of other things you can do in the competition involving an autonomous period, which usually scores you a lot more points than the driver control period. And then there's an endgame period where you can lift your robot up onto the bar using any type of lift.
Yeah, I think it's best if the kids, they try and experience failure on their own. So basically all I do is, give them the pieces and say, teach yourself, see how far you can go. Once in a while I might give them some advice, but basically they're all on their own. I think that's what makes it so great, is that it's a learning by experience.
What are the main things you've tried to integrate into your robot?
Well, for the qualifiers, we had the robot just move up onto the ramp for 20 points. And we want to make it be able to drop a cube into the baskets for even more points.
All right. Yeah, how did you do at the competition?
We did pretty well.
All right. What improvements do you plan to put on give to your robot for the state competition?
We plan on adding a lift for 50 extra points in the end game period.
Okay, thanks, Johnny.
Yep.
So basically, on last weekend, the students went to a regional event in Billings, and both robots competed, and they basically ended up 2nd and 3rd. Both teams did really good based on their points. And the freshman crew, I was really happy with how they did. They scored a lot of points, and going against older students, that was really good. And so since they qualified for that event, they get to go to state, which is January 30th and 31st. So any students out there that like robots or like building things, next year, when you hear the announcement over the intercom, make sure you get involved, and we'll probably have 3 teams next year.
Good luck this weekend. The AP Government class traveled to the state We the People competition last Tuesday, the 21st. Here is Mr. Brandon and 2 competitors to give you some insight on the event.
The competition took place in Helena at the Capitol building. It was very beautiful. Lots of nice statues and stained glass windows. It was kind of like a maze, though. We got lost.
It was a very interesting competition.
A We the People competition is a competition based on constitutional knowledge. The AP Government class was divided into 6 teams. Each of those teams prepared 3 papers on a specific constitutional question. They then presented that paper to a panel of judges and were questioned rather vigorously about it afterwards.
We had to split the workload, but I ended up doing a lot of work.
I wrote a 4-minute long paper and I practiced reading it, paring it down, editing, and answering questions.
Our teams did really great. They exhibited some great knowledge. They got some excellent experience speaking in front of people and answering questions on the fly. It was a pretty valuable experience. Next year I think we'll have a little better shot just because we'll have more time to prepare, and I think we'll know a little bit more about what's expected.
I think we did very well for our first time. I think next year will be better though, the next class.
Individually, I think my team and I did pretty good, but as an entire team, Fergus, I think did well. I think I was proud of the outcome.
It was fun. We had lunch there, good food, and then there's ice cream afterwards.
I enjoyed myself. I had fun being with my friends, and it was a good day.
The competition was definitely an enjoyable experience. Fergus High students showcased their talents at Eagles Night Live on Monday night.
A neutron walks into the bar and goes up to the proton bartender and says, "Can I have a drink?" The proton bartender says, "Sure, for you, no charge." The neutron then replies, "Are you sure?" The bartender says, "Yes, I'm positive."
Only game I played with, baby. We let our battles choose on. No one around here's good at keeping their eyes closed. The sun's starting to light up when we're walking home. Now how out of place. Save you some space for somebody new. Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you. Anywhere I would have followed you.
Congratulations to everybody. Good luck to all sports teams this weekend and the speech and drama competitors going to state. That's all for this weekend. This is Aiden Stansberry, Fergus High News.
If you've missed the previous newscast or would like to see one again, first go to the Fergus High homepage. Then go to the Eagle Journal tab and click on Newscast Archive. And now click on the newscast you would like to watch.